Zobrok.
Good morning. It is morning.
It is morning. We have gotten the reaction of quite a few of the players to just the performance from Blake Snell and from Yoshinobu Yamamoto. What was just your reaction to seeing their pitching performance, and what stood out to you specifically about their outings?
I mean, yeah, I think I probably would echo what most people said. I think it was both outings were, for me personally, probably one of the top two that I've seen live. Obviously, there's been some really good performances in playoffs and in baseball in general, but watching it unfold live under the circumstances in the playoffs, how they seem to be in control the whole time. Snell from the first pitch, I thought it did a really good job of establishing what he wanted to do. And he carried that through the 8 innings. And then with Yoshi, gets punched in the face right on the first pitch. We've seen that before this season. It happened in Anaheim. But he settled down and got through that first inning. And then from then on, it was just about understanding what was working for him and trying to, get ahead. And then maybe just try to get on the edges a little bit and try to get them to get some weak contact, and hopefully you get some miss. They're not a team that misses a whole lot. We know who they are. They're a very good ball club. They're a fun ball club to watch from afar. They're not necessarily to play, but they know how to play, and they know how to play and win ball games. So you kind of bake all those things in. It was pretty phenomenal to watch.
Different has it been managing just the pitching staff as a whole this year, and specifically this postseason, compared to whether it was last year when it was more bullpen heavy group, or just the regular season in which there were some of those bullpen struggles and even the injuries to the rotation?
Yeah, I mean, I think every year is different, and every year is a learning experience, for us as a staff, as coaches, as players. And I think ultimately, when it comes down to it, there's no one way to win ball games. There's no one way to win a division. But I think the one constant that, at least from my time here in LA, is we use a lot of people. We use our roster. Our front office does a really good job of providing depth from the beginning of the season and supplementing it as the season goes on, and it allows us to use guys to bring in, to get big outs, even if it's for 2 or 3 games. There's a lot of people who participate in winning ball games. So this year, our starters, we didn't really have a full rotation for a while, and last year we didn't have a rotation either. We had a bullpen that kind of stepped up towards the end of the season and then carried us through the playoffs. But there was a lot of guys, and it provides opportunities. You look at Emmett Sheehan. Coming back from Tommy John, gets thrown right into a fire in a divisional series, steps up, wins a big game for us there, still going through his rehab, and then for him, the way he finished the season, he was an integral part of what we did. Tony Gonsolin, he got some big starts for us before he got injured. D. May had some big starts. D. May, sometimes the lines weren't great, but he was providing innings and stability. And so I think the message in a long-winded way is, every season's different. You just take day by day. You try to go out and you try to play a good ball game, and then you pick up the pieces and see where you're at for the next day. But I think ultimately, at the end of the day, it's the players who eventually, kind of band together, and they just find ways to win. And sometimes they're very efficient, like they were the last couple of days, and sometimes they're not, and they're a little bit ugly. But a win's a win, and that's ultimately what the point of the game is to go out and try to win a ball game.
I'm gonna go over here on the left to Jack.
To go back to the starting pitching injuries at the start of the year, were you getting some deja vu to last season, just with how things were going over the first half, or could you, with how those guys were progressing, what their injuries were, did you kind of have some hope that by this point of the year, the rotation would kind of look like this and be able to perform like this?
Yeah, and unfortunately, I mean, I've seen the movie, a lot. 18, we had a lot of injuries. Got 10 games behind and found our way out of it. You never know. You go in, you feel like you're in a position of strength, and that can change, really fast. And again, you have to give credit to our front office, to our player development, for allowing guys to come in and hopefully, plug some holes through the course of the season. I don't think anybody expected the injuries to some of our guys to happen this year specifically. I think we were counting on those guys, but they did, and so you adjust and you try to take it day by day and you try to win the ball games and again, I think it takes everybody to win these games, and you get big innings. Kasperius was huge for us. Like you talk about, we don't have the rotation, but Caspian being able to take down, bulk innings in a lot of games, and really the way he pitched for those first 2 months kept us afloat. So it's not ideal, never is. We'd love to have, 5 guys throw out 30 starts, but unfortunately I don't think that's where we're at in today's game. So you got to be able to adapt and be nimble with what you have, and that's a lot of it. Again, is about the players stepping up and being able to do their job.
And then with Roki, Dave said, you guys were kind of monitoring just the slight velo drop and the Milwaukee outing. Is that more usage, mechanical, or would you guys kind of?
I'm sure it's a combination of both. Is it 50-50? Is it 70-30? It's hard to say. I do think, there's a lot asked right now of all our relievers, specifically him. I mean, his outing against Philadelphia, well documented. To be able to turn around in 2 days, 3 days, and ask him to be as effective or as dominant is probably unrealistic for anybody, really. I mean, even if you take Trevor McGill, who's an outstanding closer, or any of those guys, and you run them out there for 3 innings, there's probably going to be a cost at the end of the day. Is it worth it? Yeah, you move on, you win a ball game. And I don't think he threw bad by any means. He was just off. He wasn't completely spraying some of the balls. And again, I think you have to also look at the lineup he's facing. This is a team that controls the strike zone extremely well. They're very well prepared. They know what Roki does. They know what happens if he's just off. So they were, some of that I think was on them too, and you have to give credit to them for taking some really close pitches and making him work to try to get through that. And so definitely monitoring, absolutely. I don't want to discount that, but I do think some of that's from the effects of the game against Philadelphia, and the fact that he's only been he's been relieving for 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks. So he's still trying to figure out what that lifestyle is like down there.
Okay, we're going to go on the right, Carrie.
Tyler's he's a mechanical guy. He's a deep thinker. How important is it for him to just go out and trust his stuff and just kind of go out there and attack?
Yeah, I mean, with Glass, yeah, he definitely wants to feel in a good spot with his delivery. I think that's a primary objective of his every single day, is to feel like his delivery's in a good spot. But he is, 6'7", and sometimes lining those pieces up takes some time. Whether that's, warming up in the bullpen or maybe trying to get into the second or third inning. We've seen him come out, lights out, and we've seen him have to kind of navigate. San Francisco was one of those games where he kind of took them 2-3 innings and all of a sudden things click in. But I think where his growth has been this year is understanding what the common objective is trying to get outs and really trying to just find a way if it's not perfectly lined up. And that's where it's been fun to watch him this year, is even when he doesn't feel 100% perfect with his delivery, he knows that it could flip in 1 second. He can get one curveball in there or one fastball and he'll lock in. And that's where he's been. And that Philadelphia game was a great example of that. He wasn't quite, synced up the way he expects himself to be. But by the second inning, third inning, he started really getting in a groove and finding himself. And so he's a special talent. Everybody said it, but his raw stuff he's top 5 in baseball. And when it's lined up, it's fun to watch. He can do a lot of things, and he can make really good hitters, look, not as good as hitters that they are. So, every day is different with him. And that's what makes him also challenging to prepare for. You don't know if he's going to lean on one pitch or another pitch, and a lot of that's him is really understanding where he's at that day and going with it.
Kevin, right here in the front.
Thanks for your time. You've talked a lot about usage already, but when you look at the guys that have been dominant for you, Snell, Sasaki, Glass has been pretty good. those were guys that missed a lot of the season and are coming fresh now. The other teams, their guys, they're gassed. You know, they're on fumes. Do you think there might be a way that perhaps people are starting to look at how usage happens during the regular season? I remember one year the Cardinals got like 5 pitchers back in September and just dominated the postseason because they were fresh. Thanks.
Yeah, it's a very fair question. I don't know the answer to that. I don't even know how you would go about planning and preparing for that. You got to win the regular season. You got to win in the regular season. So that's not an easy task. And so to try to workload management your way through 162 in a very competitive league, a very balanced and competitive league, probably not most ideal circumstances. You might find yourself on the outside looking in. I do think there's probably something to our guys, miss 3-4 months. Some of these guys, Yama made 30 starts. He's up to 33 starts. Like, he's been doing it the whole season. But there's probably something to have guys fresh. But then you also have guys who, you don't want them too fresh to where they're still trying to get synced up. And so we saw it last year too. We had some starters out last year. They came back. We had some relievers out last year. They came back. Again, the one thing I feel like I've come to kind of come to grips with, or kind of just rely on, is there's no right way to do it. And I think you ultimately, I think Doc said, is you have the roster that you have at this moment in time, and you play it, and you hope you still, every team that's here, whether they have injuries, whether guys are tired, these rosters are really talented, and we're watching some of the best players in the world, go at it. And you are what you are right now, and you just have to. I don't think you can plan in advance of what you want to be, because at the end of the day, you are what you are, and you just play, and you hope that you get the right breaks, and you play good fundamentally baseball.
We're going to take 2 more, Bob.
Hey, Mark, when Atlanta had that 14-year run where Smoltz, Mash, Gladman kept talking about feeding off each other, do you get the sense of your guys right now that, hey, nobody wants to be the weak link, that they kind of go off each other?
Yeah, it's always there amongst that little fraternity, or that little that group of starters. Snell and does it. Yama turns around and does it. But I think ultimately, they want to perform for the collective group, all of 26 guys and the organization. It doesn't hurt. There's definitely we're all competitors, and you want to go out there and you want to. It's not a one-up, but you want to maintain that standard, and there's a standard that's been here for decades. Look, pitching is at the heart of the Los Angeles Dodgers. It's talked about, year in and year out, and it was something that Honeycutt, mentored me about, is like, this is the heart of, yeah, we hit home runs. We got a lot of talented position players, but at the heart of it, you go back to all the great pitchers that have been here. So, guys want to go out there and they want to perform for the team and for the organization. And right now, we're on a good little run, but we got to play we're playing a lot of really good teams. We've seen a lot of really good starters already against us, and we've been the beneficiary of some luck, of some key hits. Things can flip too. We've been on the other side of that as well. So our goal right now is just go out and play a solid 9 innings today and get a good start, quality start out of Glass. And then, hopefully we're on the good side, on the positive side again today.
Thanks.
Okay, we're going to go to Bill on the left.
Mark, you guys didn't have a complete game during the regular season, and innings counts and pitch counts, while very well intentioned, haven't really stopped the wave of injuries that I think everybody hoped they would. In watching Snell and Yamamoto, how do we get back to have your best pitchers throw as many pitches as they can?
Yeah, again, another really fair question. I think, one, we look at those 2 games, if you isolate them, one, their pitches per inning were pretty low. So you're looking at the end of the game, these guys are still hovering around 100. The stress, I think more than the 8 innings and the 9 innings and stuff like that is to not see them stressed pretty much for those 9 innings that's more unique than I think them going 8-9 innings. The first homer, but after that, I don't even know if there was runners on second base, and so that's really unusual. And I think that's ultimately what the what you're evaluating is like, what is the, you talk about guys get stressed once, they get stressed twice. Like that third stress point is really where you don't want a guy to break. And so that's ultimately where, the evolution, and the weaponizing of bullpens has really come in, is they don't want guys to get stressed. But when you look at these guys and their ability to run, and they have deep arsenals to where they can show hitters different looks, first time, second time, third time through, I think ultimately that's where you get guys going deep into games. It's not being 1 or 2 pitch pitcher. Is when all of a sudden you have 3 or 4 pitches working for you, where you have a double plus pitch and Snell's changeup to where you can just throw it even though they know it's coming, and their execution, at an A+ level is not to be. I think that can't be discounted too. I mean, again, these guys were executing at their highest level those 2 nights. But to get back to your other question is like you need guys with 3 to 4 pitches. You got to be able to give the hitters in today's day multiple looks of your stuff and be able to set guys up differently and attack guys differently. And that's how you get deeper into ball games. But again, with the expanded rosters, your ability to deploy different types of relievers, it makes sense, in today's ball game. Whether we get back to that, I don't think it's a pitch count thing necessarily, though. I really think it's more about who's a better matchup at the end of the day. Right now, those 2 guys were a better matchup in the moment. It's not saying that's all the time, but in the moment, that moment right there, I think those guys were the best guys on the mound, given that they weren't, particularly stressed or fatigued in those moments.
Mark, thanks a lot.
Yep.